Just don't know. Oh, we live. Yo,
Yo,
this is BeatPPL Podcast, episode 52. And I feel like we just ran through a maze and hit a bunch of dead ends, but now we live and we up in here. So there's a couple people in the chat, Inky and Beats Crates. Thanks for waiting around, and yeah, let's get this on. Who we got in the house, man? Beer Fest. This is Beer Fest first time jumping in here. What's up, brother?
What's up, man? I'm Fest Grandiose, for those who don't know.
Word.
You can look me up.
Good to have you, man.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here, man.
Word up.
Keeping y'all seen for a minute.
Yeah, man. And I know we gonna talk in a minute. I just want to go around table, but I want to, let people know, what you're out there doing and what you're doing in Chicago around open beats and all that. But we're gonna circle back around.
Yeah.
We got Aaron in the place. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going? How you feeling today?
Good, man. Good.
I'm out here.
Yeah. Yo, Ken and the duck.
What's going on, man?
What's going on, bro?
Yeah, I got the duck up there, huh? Yeah, man. We're still kind of messing around with some audio. I think we might have to tweak a few people's audio while we're doing the show. So if you leave a message in the chat, like the live chat, let us know how the audio sounds for each person. It'll help us correct the show before it gets too deep in. You know what I mean?
Yep.
yeah,
Cool. Ali, what's going on, bro?
yo, what up, brothers? How y'all doing today?
Chilling, man.
Yeah, I'm cooling too.
You repping that shirt, man. I love that shirt, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I don't know if I've seen that one before. I've seen your logo before, but I don't know if I've seen the t-shirt with that.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, because I usually have the Ali modular on.
Right. Yeah, that's dope. Word up, man. So yeah, hey, and speaking of t-shirts, actually, I'm gonna have ModBap t-shirts here soon. So I just want to say that on the show, and so people could go to beatpeople.com, cop those. But yeah, what's going on, people?
Chilling, man.
Word. Hey, I had some topics I want to kind of.
man.
Yeah, post NobCon, we didn't really get a chance to talk about all of NobCon. We had a quick show during NobCon, but we just kind of ran through a couple things. What's the bright shining star for NobCon right now? After like post Nob, the Hydra, Hydra Sense, I would say so.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It kind of
That was the
dominated
most impressive
NobCon.
piece I saw over that weekend. It was amazing. There was nothing like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I was just telling Aaron, like, man, I wish I really went to Chicago, but I don't, it's next year. I'll be out there next year for sure.
yeah, you got to be there next year,
I was
man.
a little.
We're gonna, and
I was a
we
little
should figure out something
disappointed
special to do too for next year.
Yeah.
I had so many people hit
Maybe
me up
maybe
unexpected. You know what I mean? Like unexpected friends that were like not gonna go, and then at the last minute they all kind of went. And I was like, man, you gotta be like, they're all hitting me up. Oh, I'm heading to the airport right now, randomly. Like, I'm just going. I'm like, man, like when I saw Brad show up, like Brad hit me up right before. I'm talking about Isla Instruments SP2400.
Yeah.
He hit me up like right before he left. Like he just kind of like randomly went. And then Winston from Falcone Twisted. He kind of somebody just opened up YouTube or did something because I got mad at him.
How are we
Hold
doing?
on. Yo.
Yo.
Yeah, that's better. So yeah, I saw Winston came on Saturday, and that was just out of nowhere. And I didn't get a chance to see him because I didn't get there till late on Saturday. And then it seemed like Brad showed up on Sunday. That was crazy.
Yeah,
He just kind of like decided, oh, you know what, I'm gonna go up there because there was some really great people to talk to. So he went up there. He had a parlay with Paul Schreiber of Synthesis Technology and Glenn of ASM, and it's a lot of good friends there, and I was kind of sad not to be there, but I did see that Aaron was there, and I was happy to see that. So you had a good time out there, man?
Yeah, I was happy to be there. It was amazing, actually.
Look, Aaron looked surprised that you said you was happy to see him or see that.
Yeah, I had a great time. Yeah, I just wish the whole squad was actually out there. We could have really done some shows.
Yeah, it would have been dope.
Yeah.
But that joint that we did at 606 was really fresh though. That was fly.
Yeah, let's
And
not
606
forget
is a dope spot.
606, the Wire
Yeah.
Wire. Yeah.
Yeah. So hold on, man. Let's give us a little bit of pause. We could talk a little bit, but right now we need to get the sound together because this echo.
It's not me again, is it?
Hold on, I'm about to mute a couple people. There was to the people in the chat that might be watching. I'm gonna mute. Yo,
Yeah.
yo, yo.
Yo, yo, yo.
Hello?
Yep.
Yeah.
Ken,
I hear the
take over
feedback.
host for a second, man. I need to try something.
Yep. So I'm gonna talk about a couple of quick things while he tries to sort out some audio issues. It might be Aaron. I don't know. I'm just gonna blame everybody but me.
Think it's
And-
you, B.
No, it ain't me. I got my mic shut off when I'm not talking. Because I'm handling this perfectly. So NobCon, man. One of the things that kind of struck me about it this year, more so than any other year, I would say, is the standout items from NobCon, to me at least, from watching from afar. It seemed like it was non-modular things that were like getting all the attention. Like I only saw a few modular items getting like big attention, but like the majority, it was non-modular items that were really kind of blowing up there. What was your vibe on that, Aaron?
Yeah, definitely. There was who's it? Pioneer was out there. They were really making a big splash. They have some nice sequencers. What's it called?
Squid.
The Squid.
The Squid.
I was thoroughly impressed by the Squid, so much so I bought one like the next day. Literally.
It's interesting because I just had a conversation with somebody who will remain unnamed. That the other day we were talking about standalone sequencers, and he was kind of the mindset that like, oh well, that stuff's not going to sell as well now that it's been out for a while. And I said, yeah, but wasn't there a lot of vibe about that Pioneer? And yeah, so that's interesting. So have you already gotten your Squid?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on it now that you have it and have kind of worked through it a bit?
It's amazing, especially for a person like me who just gotten a modular within the past year and a half or so. I am still a pretty tactile guy when it comes to not only making stuff but also performing live. So yeah, Squid Game, yeah. It's amazing. Actually, I've been really kind of softly ignoring Pioneer's Torai's Umbrella for a minute, and now Bio and Squid is kind of like put my attention fully on them because it's hot.
You sound like you're falling down a echo chamber.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
don't
say
know
that
what
too.
that is.
I think that's Corey over there. He muted himself and it kind of went away. So
Yep.
I don't know. So, have you had any experience with things like BeatStep Pro or any of the more complex Eurorack modular sequencers or anything like that? Like anything in rack?
Yeah. So, actually, the Akira P-Step was my first sequencer, and then from there, I had a experience with the Renee 2 and also the Hermode. All of those I basically stopped using in comparison to the Squid. So
Yeah, I look at it and I'm there's a few things in it that are really dope, and there's a couple of things that I was kind of like, okay, well, I don't know if it's as fleshed out as I want yet, but at the same time, it also kind of just released, and sequencers are one of those products where it's such a complex product that it's like there usually has to be like a few updates before you see things really kind of come together. And I'm hoping that Pioneer like keeps support for it and starts releasing updates as it goes.
Yeah.
That's going to be the true test for Pioneer in that kind of space, in my opinion. Is I want to see them, kind of stick with their products a bit,
Agreed. I don't have any experience with how they listen to their users or not. This is actually only the second purchase I've ever made of like newer Pioneer DJ stuff. So I just took the plunge on the same because there are some things that definitely need some improvement, mainly like in the program changing area. Like it doesn't do program changes at all. So if you're looking for something that can kind of like have a full song mode, if you will, like you don't really have that. It makes up at least in that regard with a lot of other features that are just like amazing.
Okay, so Aaron just dropped out, and when Aaron dropped out, the echo went away. Did you notice that?
I did too.
Okay, so now he's back. I don't know. Oh man.
Yo.
Yeah.
So what I want to know, if you're using Squid, what are you doing to record the audio as a result?
Oh man, so with my own setup, I'm dealing with like an 8-channel interface. So as far as abilities to record, that's always it's always been a streamlined process for me. Like it all depends on what I'm working on. I got various mixers going into this 8-channel interface I'm working with. So I really am not really limited in that regard. Like I can.
So that's more. So I definitely get that because I can see. But that's more of how you running your audio into. Are you using a DAW? Like what DAW are you using? So you're using the Squid, the sequence, but you're recording down into your DAW.
Yeah, I use Ableton, and like I can do. Essentially, my creations are DAWless, but everything recording wise gets multi-tracked into Ableton, and then edited and arranged and mixed, mastered. So
cool. We're trying to square away Corey's mic situation because he sounds like he's trying to kill us with audio.
yeah, Corey's got the voice of God going right now.
So tell me about this Pioneer.
That's better.
You could still go down a few dB to be honest, man. Yeah. So what else at NobCon was it that kind of grabbed your attention then? So you went out and grabbed the Squid like right away. What else was grabbing your attention?
The Deluge.
Oh yeah.
The Deluge is dope.
Yeah, they had a big update, V3 update,
Yes.
and they had a huge press push for that too. Like they must have been doing some serious work on that.
I think that's next on my radar, especially since I'm like a lot of my live performance is based off looping. Like I used the Boss loopers. I got the RC202 and whatnot. Kind of everything that I'm running live goes into that, and I like always kind of loop my way out of like whatever sequence or like kind of loop that I'm in. So when they added that looper mode, that's when I really started paying attention to them. And then I got to mess with it and see it live. It's like a multi-track loop mode, and then you can load up audio clips kind of like the same way you would like an MPC Force or something, or even like your black box. So I'm really got my eyes on them now, and that's another piece that I was just never really paid attention to until recently, till seeing it in the flesh. Plus you got like the lithium battery in it that's like crazy as well, which I didn't even know that it had that portability function. So yeah, man, Deluge.
That's dope.
Oh, I thought you meant the black box, but yeah, the Deluge is a mother. So deep, and they're not like they're showing folks up, man. with the I mean, as far as like other beat machine makers or groovebox makers, because they are hitting it with updates and updates and updates, and they just wild. And I love the promotion, the kind of Asia, the tour of China or something that they did recently, where they were just in parties, rocking parties, standing in the middle of the, you know what I mean? It was pretty dope. It was pretty dope.
One annoyance, if you're looking at it to be like an all-in-one machine, its pads are not velocity sensitive. So
yeah, I noticed that.
That might be a big drawback for some people.
There's a few things about it that still kind of keep me from really wanting it. Like I gave it a hard look last week, and I was like, man, is this something that I really want? And like I had to walk away from it just like, nah, it's really just not where I want to be right now.
Yeah,
and that's not to say that it's a bad product by any means. It's just there's certain things about it that just don't appeal to me. Like, you know, and some of it's aesthetic, some of it's things like, you know, the pad's not sending velocity where, you know, I'm like, man, that's a missed opportunity. And I can work around that kind of stuff for sure. And you can of course just plug in a MIDI device and work around it that way. You know, it's not a big deal, but there's just something about it that just isn't, it's not hitting me at the right angle. You know what I mean? And there's, you know, who knows? And maybe I change my mind in a week. I've been known to do that too.
Or in a day.
Yeah, or in a day, exactly. Or in a day.
This guy.
We all know how that is.
Yeah, but yo, I wanna go back though, because we were talking about how Hydra was like the star of the show, right? And I think one of us said, and it may have even been me, I can't even remember because all these audio things been distracting my brain. But
oh my God,
somebody said there was nothing like it. But I beg to differ because there's Argon 8. Now, I think that where the comparisons begin and end are with the fact that they're wavetable synths.
And 8
voices, the end. What do y'all think about the Argon joint?
Ooh, man. I looked at the Argon a lot, dude. So I looked at that a lot because I'm interested in it. And of course, obviously, I worked on the Hydra Sense. So, you know, it's somewhat of a biased opinion because I worked on it, but it's also an educated opinion for the fact that I know the Hydra Sense probably better than anybody else out there. So,
shut up.
I mean, look at him, man. I mean,
I'm saying like maybe Glenn, Dom, and Chen will give me a run for my money, but there's certain aspects that even them I would argue that I have the edge on. So
it says 8 voice polyphony, 37 key keyboard.
Can you pull up a picture of it?
120 wave
tables.
pull
up a picture.
I'll do it.
I got it up.
It looks okay.
You can share your screen, Ollie.
Yeah, hold on.
But yeah, it's the Argon is like there's a lot about it I like, but I don't see the two as direct competitors really. Like because the Hydra Synth is like a way like more powerful, fully fleshed out, way more synthesis going on in it. Like it's at a higher level kind of thing. It's almost like trying to compare like a mini log to, you know, a Prophet. You know what I mean? Like you can have similar stuff going on, but it's not quite the same depth of synthesis. And that's not a bad thing. It's just they're hitting at two different angles. You're talking the Argon is slightly less priced as a keyboard than the desktop is of the Hydra. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's at $699. Well, the Hydra is at what, $700?
Yeah,
whatever, $1 more.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but my point being is
$1
like,
more.
You know, so like if it was a desktop of the Argon 8, it'd be what, like $500, something like that, you know?
Right.
Like, so I don't see them as direct competitors. I'll probably end up getting one of those Argon 8s, to be honest with you. Like, I like wavetable synthesis a lot because I feel like there's really psychedelic style timbre changes that you can do with wavetables. It's the same reason why I like complex dual oscillators and modular. I like these psychedelic morphing changes to the harmonic spectrum, and you can get that really easily with wavetables. So I love that kind of stuff. Like my modular rig up here right now, like that, like one whole row of that is nothing but wavetable oscillators. So it's like I love it, you know. So I'm all for it, and I think it looks dope. I think the Argon is more like a kind of like almost like a grab and go synthesizer, where it's like, you know, you're not overthinking it. You know, you're not overthinking your synthesis programming, because I think it's only like one or two LFOs and one or two envelopes on per voice. Whereas on when you're programming the Hydra Sense, it's 5 of each plus plus your vibrato LFO plus your LFOs for like tremolo and what's the other effect, rotary and that kind of stuff. So technically you can have like 7 or 8 LFOs going at once if you if you really count it all up and all that kind of stuff. But so to me they're just very different work styles, but I want both. Like give me
Yeah, I will say that I played the Argon 8 while I was there. I was literally, while he was trying to break down his booth, I was like, hold on. Go, take the table down while I while I play this a little bit. And it does sound good. I can't front on it. It sounds really good. But I could tell right off that they're very different scents. And just like, the interesting thing is that, I think a lot of people going to compare them because they're both wavetable scents. But that probably says a lot about how few wavetable scents are out there, because you don't compare the same way when there's like just a poly analog or just what I'm saying?
It's been a long time
since we've
seen a high end. It's been a long time since we've seen a high end, like serious synthesis powerhouse digital synthesizer come along, and then all of a sudden we get two like quickly.
Same day.
Man, that's all. It's been a while since the last real thing that really kind of made a splash would have been that what is it called, the Akira or something like that, that the dude Waldorf the
Kyra
which isn't
and
out
it's still it's not out yet. It was still it was barely working at NAMM, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, and that's not, I mean, it's when something's early, that's kind of to be expected. And he was doing what he was supposed to do, which was, get drum up business, drum up connections, all that kind of stuff.
What's the build quality on that?
On which?
Argon? Compared to
I don't know if I can say just yet, because they weren't even sure yet if what we saw was going to be the final build. Like right now, it has painted black bamboo chassis on the. It was weird. It was like it was wood ends, but I think it went under the bottom too. But it was supposed to be bamboo, but it was painted black. And they were saying for consistency's sake, they haven't decided whether it's going to be that or not. So I don't think we really truly know what that thing is going to be like just yet. It's early.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, is that from everything that I heard, like just through other people who had talked to Modal and whatnot, it's very early. Like it's, and I don't know what time they're talking about having that thing launched. Did you see any kind of launch date speculation or anything? I don't think that thing's coming like super soon. I think it maybe like 4 or 5 months, maybe. So, I mean, you're talking about differences as far as, when something's coming out too. Like ASM, they were very much like, I don't want to tease. It was really the bottom line as far as the Hydra Synth was. Like he didn't.
Oh yeah, they hit the ground ready to go. Boom.
Yeah, he didn't want to do that whole, when I say he, I'm talking about Glenn Darcy, the head of their product development and everything. He wanted it to be like, okay, we're gonna announce this when it's ready to go, and you know what I mean, and boom. So, and it was, very, very near complete when they showed it, at NobCon. It was like, I mean, it was like the first batch of presets, so like they weren't all leveled, and it wasn't all of the presets in the units, but like the build is done. You know what I mean? Like the hardware is done, like all that stuff is done. Now, the presets are at Gold Master now, so they're finished. The firmware has been delivered to the factory, so they're spooling up to produce these things now.
Nice.
Yeah, that's dope. So I'll tell you, all I know is I'm surprised by Hydra Sense every day. As I use it like every day, I'm like, dang, it does that. Oh, whoa, it does that, but it does it well. Like there's so many things that it does really well.
I'm just gonna flat out ask, do I need the Hydra Sense?
Yep.
I mean,
they don't need for me to pontificate and be all yes. That's it. Exactly.
Dude,
And I've been
like,
digging those tracks that you've been doing, Corey, with the Hydra. It's been bananas.
Yeah, man,
The
and
joints you've been dropping on Instagram, yeah.
word, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I've been kind of combining it too, doing Hydra Synth and the Matriarch, and been coming up with some pretty fun stuff, man. So it's been dope. I mean, and sometimes I'll just sit with the Hydra and quick, like, you know what I'm saying, because you're using the force, and I could just drop audio right into a clip, and you know what I'm saying. So I'm just playing on the pads, dropping something to a clip, come back, do something else, and I can just run through that really quick and come up with some ill stuff, man. So
wait, you're
it's
saying
very immediate.
Wait, you're saying you can record whatever you just did to a pad as a clip?
Oh, no. So in conjunction with the force.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm using Hydra Sense, the desktop, as obviously an audio source, and using the force to record it all and kind of compose the beat. So it's so easy. The way I got all my synths running through, like most of us probably do, like Fess was just saying, I got all my synths running through a mixer, and they all go into the force. Then the force goes into, my Apollo, right? There's a weird kind of setup just because, anyway, but that's the way I got it. And so whatever I play, I can capture right away and just build the track. And Hydra's been dope for that because it, as a desktop synth, it has pads on it that, allow you to play it. Like, that seems so simple, like, but so many desktop synths don't have anything on it that allow you to play it. And at very least, not really expressive things on it that allow you to play it. And these are very expressive pads, so it's pretty dope.
Is there a built-in sequencer?
There's no built-in sequencer, but it has an arpeggiator.
Okay, yeah.
I do sometimes feel like, dang, it would be dope. Like, if it had a built-in sequencer, it would be a total standalone beast. You know what I mean? But I could easily see myself taking this to a show and open it up with some ambient synth stuff, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because if you're an ambient artist, you could take this and just do that, nothing else. You know what I mean?
So
because the effects on it are cold.
This is fully MPE too?
I don't know that it's MPE. No, it's not MPE yet, right, Ken? Or
sorry, I had my mic muted. No, it's not MPE. It is being, and I don't know if I can even talk about it at all. It's being considered. Put it that way. Like, that's about as much as I'd be willing to say about that. And I haven't seen anything specific, but all I can say is that I think we were a little bit surprised at how many people were asking for MPE. But I will say this, like, using the polyphonic aftertouch keybed is crazy. And it's a little bit irritating when you have to, like, dip and dive and search for DAW software that will actually record the polyphonic aftertouch. I mean, you can get it, capture it with audio and all, but, like, there's a lot of DAWs out there right now that don't handle polyphonic aftertouch, which is ridiculous.
You know what? As a matter of fact, man, I was what was I? I was at Perfect Circuit, by the way. I got a Perfect Circuit story to tell y'all, but I'll get to that later. So I was at Perfect Circuit and I was playing some synth, I can't even remember, and I was playing it like as if it had polyphonic aftertouch because I've been so Hydra induced, and I was kind of frustrated. I was like,
been hydrated.
Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Not to further digress, but so far, correct me if I'm wrong, so far there's only one piece of standalone hardware synth gear that supports MPE that I've run across.
Which one is it?
The Micro Monster by Audio Thingies. I don't know if y'all ever heard of that. It's I think this is a small company out of I think they're out of Italy. I had one for a while. It's like completely digital, 8-voice, polyphonic, and it supports full MPE.
That's dope.
It's the only standalone synth that I've ever ran across that supports MPE. So I had thought that the Hydra Sense was the next one in line, but sounds like maybe. So we'll see. But regardless of which, polyphonic aftertouch is like kind of
it's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
So it's
like
it's dope. You get so expressive.
And when you combine that with the like when you combine it with the ribbon, like
Oh, well, there you go. There's that's making up for you not having the full MPE. I mean,
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean,
and that thing has 3 modes.
yeah.
yeah, like and the thing is you can map all that and send it out different ways.
To me, that's just expressive. Like, I mean, really, if you're only even into the MPE, it's kind of useless unless you actually have a Rolly or like a Linstrument or one of those Continuums or something. Like it's, and those are all expensive controllers. So it all depends. But it is fun to just slide your finger across and just make a whole just pad of goodness.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I mean, it brings a whole nother level of expressiveness to it and playfulness. Like you could be creative in a way that you probably wouldn't otherwise. I love anything that's going to allow me to do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So Corey, you've been going to a Perfect Circuit?
So yeah, I went to Perfect Circuit because here. I gotta have props, right? So this ain't tied down. So I went to Perfect Circuit because I wanted to get 1U stuff, and did that. I made this Moog blank because I'm ghetto like that. It's out of cardboard and stickers.
That's how you do it.
No doubt. So
That's what you gotta do.
yeah, and so what I end up doing is, these cases, I've never had an IntelliGel case. So the thing with these IntelliGel cases is that it has the 1U, and then up top it has like that half thing. So there's 2 mults up there, and it has USB MIDI, and then there's 2 1/4-inch outputs. But you have to buy the headphone, the stereo headphone output for the 1U tile, and then that you connect it on the inside with power and the audio connection, and that enables the audio outputs on the top. Hold on a second. I'm gonna disconnect this so y'all can see what I'm talking about. But the thing is, I didn't know that there were 2 different versions of the headphone jack, the headphone output 1U. And what ended up happening is, with the initial version, you don't get the audio connection on the headphone jack 1U tile in order to enable the audio, the 1/4-inch outputs on the top here. So that's why I went back, because I'm like, yo, this don't work. This ain't even the right thing. And so this is what I'm talking about. So you need this tile, in order to enable these 2 jacks right here that are built to the case.
Okay.
And then the USB that you see here, the USB where my fingers are, and that little input, that's actually MIDI in, but you need this MIDI 1U in order to make them work. So you're connecting power and the additional connection.
USB,
right? But when I bought the headphone out, it was version 1. So version 1 doesn't have the audio connection to connect to the 1/4-inch outputs. Okay. So I had to go back up there. It was like, yo, I need that. This one ain't good. So here's the thing. I had the floor model joint. It was I don't know, $10 off or something. That version 1, and then I got it home and realized it wasn't right. So then I took it back up, and so the whole crux of this story is, I think I hold the record for the cheapest transaction ever in Perfect Circuit. Because when they gave me the version 2, it was like, $10 off initially, and then the new one is obviously a new one, and then I owed them $2. So I spent $2 in Perfect Circuit, and I was like, yeah, that's probably a record. They were like, yeah, that's the cheapest transaction we've ever done.
Congratulations. Wow.
No doubt. Then I got the hell out of there before that all changed.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, this case is turning out to be pretty useful, man. And I tried out the Steppy too.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, Steppy was dope, but I wish it had CV2. It's all Gates, but I'll probably end up rocking that at some point.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yo, I wanna address a question that somebody asked in the chat because I think it's I'm gonna put it up here. It'll cover up a couple of us for a second. So he said, as time permits, he wants to know why song mode is being omitted as a feature on newer devices like the Force and the Roland 101 and 707. And so, actually, I didn't know that was omitted on the 101 and the 707. And this is an interesting question because, there used to be a time you couldn't buy those kinds of machines without. That was like that's like no song mode is like not having a sequencer almost. That's just
Right.
as how important a song mode was. But do y'all think that's being done like that because there's so
DAWs.
many because of DAWs, right? Because
Yeah.
there's
Like
so
there's
many
an
DAWs.
emphasis on exporting to Ableton and that sort of
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
I-
that's kind of what I was thinking.
I personally have never really ever used song mode besides maybe on my MPC 1000, like
Me too.
a couple of
That's
times.
the only time.
Yeah.
So
used
y'all the
it.
problem. That's what it is.
Yep.
On my MPC 1000. I mean, like, what's it for? Like, okay, I'm gonna
Exactly.
track this out and
Right.
get it laid out how I want it inside of my DAW. I don't need to
Exactly.
do that.
Well,
in
that's
MPC.
just it. It's for those of us who like creating without having to do the song construction inside the DAW.
Mm-hmm.
right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like when
I get it.
Yeah, I get it too.
when
I
I
just-
use
I
the
don't-
MPC, I like to do my arrangement in the MPC. Like I like to
I
actually
don't.
do my whole jam right there, and then when I go to the DAW, I might split things up and do transitions and that sort of thing. But for the most part, like I want my arrangement like there, and that way when I go to do a show or something, I just take that one piece and I'm good to go.
It's so much faster for me to do it in the DAW.
So here's what I think. I think there's a couple things. If I had to think about it, the fact that people are using DAWs and the fact that live performance is such a huge part of electronic music nowadays, no matter what the genre. But if you're using electronic instruments, a lot of times it's really an emphasis on live performance. And I think when you think about live performance, that almost kills the idea of a song mode. Back in the days when we was all doing MPCs and stuff, and to me, that's where my head goes to immediately when I think song mode. So we was all doing MPCs and stuff. There wasn't like open beats was not a thing anywhere ever. You know what I mean? Like there was no such thing. There was no emphasis on live performance that way. If you was talking about live
Yeah.
performance, you was a DJ or an MC.
Right.
Even if you made beats. When you talking about going live, you doing one of those.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's funny to me because like in my area, it was like we used to bring our MPCs out there, and it'd be like 3 producers with MPCs, and then we'd have like 1 or 2 DJs with us, and
Dope.
rock it live, and that we did that every weekend, or actually every weekday, or every Wednesday, and then we would do it, I think like once at the end of the month or something like that, and but that was like a common thing. And part of that was like everybody would have their beats were full songs on the disc.
Yeah.
So that it was important like that. And then we would go and you could still freak things and all. But in the song mode in an MPC, you could take all your individual sequences, right? And then you crunch it all into one long sequence. So because of that, you could go and then you could edit that one long sequence and do like editing individual notes like that. So you could kind of spruce it up and
Yeah.
whatnot.
I mean, I could see how it could help you actually for a live performance. Like if like my MPC is the helm of my Mazda, right? You could use that song mode to build in your transitions. So I mean, like you could be a little bit lazier. You don't have to remember where everything is. You already have it mapped out, so you can just remember where you need to start doing your changes. Like as far as in like dropping the beat in and out and taking one element out and putting one element in, you won't have to remember that part of it. All you will have to do is remember like what changes you want to make melodically.
A lot of the times what I would use it for is I would have the structure of the song would be there, but I did a lot of finger drumming and all. So it was a lot of finger drumming live performances and scratching and that sort of thing. So my mind couldn't be focused on changing every single pattern every 4 bars and that kind of thing. It was okay, let this thing run its sequence, and then I can, do my actual live performance along with it.
Right.
Yeah, I feel you on that. So for me, what I end up doing, and specifically with the Force, because that's even a part of the of E Junior's question, but specifically with the Force, I love the live arrangement aspect of it. You know what I mean? And I don't think I would have as much flexibility if I used a song mode of some sort with the live arrangement. Like, I mean, like for instance, the Aaron, let's use for 606, for instance, and I was doing live arrangement of a complete project. There was a point, like in the moment, you have to be, I like the flexibility of being able to just switch course a little bit, even if I have a plan. Aaron tapped me on the shoulder, and I knew that my man at 606 had a hard stop at 8 o'clock. Aaron tapped me on the shoulder, was like, yo, it's 8:05, and I hadn't dropped my bomb yet. You know what I'm saying? So on the fly, I went straight to that part of the thing. But if I was in song mode, I would have just had to be like, all right, well, we'll stop it at this where I am right now. You know what I'm saying? Like you think it I like having the flexibility, but I kind of feel like though Force and 101 and 707, those could be things that are coming in an update, because it's one of those things that are being asked about by a lot of people. So I wouldn't doubt seeing it.
I don't think that's such a hard thing to add in, at the end of.
Well, you would say that, but look at Machine. Like,
right.
Oh man, man. All right, I'm not even gonna get started on my disgruntledness with that.
Yeah. I'll tell you what though, I tried out the circuit, like, running the modular. It was super dope. You know how we always talk about, like, not to like beat the dead horse, but like off the grid. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you just
beat that dead horse.
Man, you could just run your MIDI out from here into your MIDI interface, and if you got drum modules or whatever, you got off grid recording and sequencing right from this damn thing. So it was
that's dope. And I heard what you've been doing with that joint, and the fact that when Ken and I reviewed those things. It's probably over a year now, right, Ken?
Mm-hmm.
Over a year. But when we reviewed, it was early in the development for that thing. So they had just did sample flip, and so I still liked it, and it was dope to sit with my modular. Yeah, the circuit.
And the updates that came after, man. That's the other crazy thing, is like Novation is getting a reputation for being like the best of the big companies for supporting a product after release. What they did with the base station 2 and what they've done with the circuit is crazy.
Yeah, man. This circuit is pretty dope, man. I'm telling you, I mean, it's really replacing the MP for like my travel and needs and stuff like that. It's got batteries, it's got a speaker. I don't need to plug it up. Of course, the MP has a battery, but it's pretty huge. You know what I mean? And the quality of stuff I've been able to get out of the circuit, is beautiful. So it's like, man, I could just take this thing with me, make a few patches before you go wherever you're going, and man, you can bust out some nice stuff with this thing, man.
Unpopular opinion is, I actually love the internal speaker on that thing. Like, I love the fact that I could just chill anywhere and just rock without even having to use headphones.
Right.
I love the idea of having that internal speaker on it. And I mean, I do that with my modular. Like all my modular cases have a Trana module, little speaker / distortion module in it, because a lot of the times I want that instant feedback of just a little speaker right there in it. You know what I mean? So I actually love that.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, it's pretty powerful thing. I mean, it's got 2 synth engines, and the synth engine sounds really good on these things. It's real good.
So does it have the synth engine from the base station or from the Peak?
I think it's the one from the Peak. I don't know.
Are you talking about the circuit, or are you talking about the
circuit? circuit.
Yeah, I'm talking about the circuit. Which one?
The circuit it's a stripped down version of the Ultra
Base
Novation.
station, ain't it? Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, and I think
it's not the base station?
the mono station is like one channel of the base station, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. Dope.
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah, man, it's been pretty cool though.
Yeah, it's under those things fly under the radar, man. And I see you got them prominently placed there in front of your modular.
Yeah, I mean, it's because I can, I've been working with them lately, so that's why they're there too. But I was testing it out with the modular and just controlling it, man, and just, it's a seat. You could use it as a modular sequencer, and it's only $350. So
Yeah, that's dope.
And it's off grid.
Nice.
Now
that's inexpensive, bang for your buck, right there.
Look.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, to get all of that.
You say it's off grid now?
Yeah,
Yep.
check it out.
Can't hear it.
Oh, all right, my bad. Hold on 1 second.
Watch
That was like a recent upgrade, right? Like it was. Like,
I'm not gonna echo.
You had to do everything quantized at first, and then they upgraded.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah. Heard that. Yeah, man.
All right. We gotta turn that.
Did I dub out again?
Oh man.
Yeah. You echoed it out.
Yeah, you back.
Those drums were slapping. Man. I loved it. That's good.
Yeah, it's real.
I had to swing and everything.
Yeah, I mean, just like no quantize, just get it right the first time.
Yeah, that's real dope.
Yeah,
Now,
it's dope.
$350. I'm gonna do a crazy transition right here, though.
Right.
$350 for the Novation circuit. You put it up there with your Euro rack, and this week Moog announced a $99 million Euro rack, not even Euro rack, but modular synth.
It's 99 million.
Yeah, no doubt.
Aaron, you sound like you're a million miles away.
No. People
hard decisions, man. With this
That's not the mic that you're using.
products dropping.
Or something.
Kidding me?
Yeah, there you go. That's better.
I don't kid.
So what is it though? I'm gonna look it up right now because the whole thing.
You're talking about the system?
Yeah, what
System
is this
10?
thing? I
What
need
is
to
it?
see.
System 10, yeah, System 10,
System 10.
and it's like what? It's like 9 or 10 grand, right?
Fucking $9,950.
And at the same time,
Well, at least you get. It's not quite 10, right?
and they have that. They've got the system. What's the other one? The 22. That's like the $20,000 one. Then they got the 35. I'm trying to.
Yeah, this is wow. So what is the System 55?
And the system.
Oh,
55,
bro,
and the
that's
system
probably
55,
that's probably
a buddy of mine actually has
55,000.
one of those. And works on it daily. And he has the system. What is it called? The 3C or whatever.
Who? 30,000.
And it's
30K.
yeah. So
Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you, Aaron.
That Analog Solutions Colossus though is what got me hyped. Like that thing is crazy. Did you guys see that?
Oh my gosh, this looks beautiful.
It is beautiful, but it's $10,000.
Yeah.
I know for a fact those dudes are there like
hand soldering.
these joints like
Yeah.
one by one. There's a lot of craftsmanship that goes into these products. If you ever get a chance to go down to the Moog factory and watch them put this stuff together and test it, it's nothing like it.
Yeah,
You
that's
kinda
right. This
understand what
isn't-
the price point is.
This isn't some like huge manufacturing.
No.
robots putting everything together. This is actual
And
human
that's
beings.
actually a good point, because I say that in just about, it's $10,000, and it's kind of, I joke about it, but the fact of the matter is, there's a market for these premium handmade joints. Like, if you think about something like this, you're thinking about the way a Phantom is actually handmade in a factory. You know what I'm saying? you have a premium piece of kit that's being handmade in a factory, and there's a market, a specific sort of customer base that's all about that.
right.
I can't even dream about that kind of stuff.
All right,
Although I
so-
did dream about the Moog one, but that's
Yeah,
gotta
I'd rather
say,
just
man.
get the Moog one for that price.
Right.
I gotta say, I disagree that it's like buying a Rolls Royce Phantom. I feel like
Oh no, I didn't say it was the Rolls Royce
No,
Phantom. My only
well, what I'm
point is
saying
that
is
they
that
hand make it, right?
Nah, to
They're
me, it's
hand
more
making
like
it.
buying. To me, it's more like buying like a replica car, because it's, they're recreating the stuff, and they're using a lot of the same techniques and all that. But at the same time, it's like, man, I look at it and I'm like, if I'm gonna spend that kind of money, and it's not the original, it's by the original company, and it's a remake and all. I'll be honest with you, man. Like, to me, these things don't do it for me. Like, I would probably go synthesizers.com, or like I'd rather have like a MOTM system or something like that. There's more current manufacturers that I would probably jump towards for that same sort of thing than even going back for one of these. Like, you get way more bang for your buck.
There's a specific customer base for this stuff.
Sure,
and
yeah,
it
it's
works.
a collector's base, really, more than anything. But
Yeah.
share my screen, add my screen to the feed, Corey, because I want to show you this, because this was announced in the same week, and this is the Analog Solutions Colossus. Now, this is priced at roughly $20,000,
Ooh.
okay?
Wow.
And
That looks crazy.
it's got about 100 times the functionality, and it's every bit as boutique, man. Like, this thing is all
Yep.
That is
hand done.
bananas.
How many of those are you gonna
Wow.
make? 10?
Right.
Yeah, they're gonna make this
I'll be
a
surprised
small
if they
number.
make more than 10 or 15.
Yeah.
And it
Wow.
obviously it looks like a synthy, but as they state directly in here, it's their own circuits, and it's inspired by the Synthy 100, but it's something new. It's inspired by the 70s with an eye towards modern. And to me, this thing, if I was going to drop like 20 grand on a synthesizer, it's not going to be one of those Moog format, which I agree. I think they're beautiful, but I would way quicker drop my money on something like this.
So conversely though, here's the interesting thing about anybody that does modular. Like, a lot of people, and it's not the minority of people, it's a majority of people are rocking thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of modular anyway. But I think
Right.
what tends to happen is when you talk about dropping that amount at once, because the kind of the gift and the curse of Eurorack is that it's $200 at a time.
Right.
it's like synthesizer on layaway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Amen to that.
Yep, that's exactly right.
So it's a little different. So what's funny is that a lot of us might be like, "Whoa, $10,000," but then probably most of the people to say, "Whoa, $10,000 got $12,000 worth of modular."
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say. So look at the specs on this
Yeah,
thing.
that's true.
You're talking 12 VCOs that can also go down to LFO range. You've got sub oscillators. You've got and it's all boutiquely done. Think about the casing of this thing alone is got to be
VCOs.
close to
Wow.
$3,000.
Do they come out to your house and build it?
So
They should.
You have to
How they
freight-
shipping?
Yeah, it has to be freighted. So point being though, like, if you look at everything, 4 multi-mode filters, each with serial VCAs on them, 4 low pass filter, 24 dB ladder filters on there, each with their own serial VCAs. It's got 2 spring reverbs. I mean, this thing, and it's not from a slouch of a company. This is from Analog Solutions. I mean, if you're familiar with their other gear, like, their gear is dope. Like, don't front on that stuff. So it's, to me, this was just the impressive synth. Like, and I'm not trying to pick on Moog by any means. I'm
No,
really just
not at
more
all.
like, wow, two synthesizers that were way out of my price point were just announced, and this is the one that really like made me go, oh man, I'm drooling, you know.
Right.
That being said, like Corey said, you know, we could sit there and kind of laugh at that kind of price point for a synthesizer, but the truth is like my modular is more than that. You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
exactly.
exactly. Yeah. But you know, I mean, like, who are people going to be buying this? You think this is more for the film world, or because it's definitely not in the music industry? I don't think.
I disagree. I have friends that are in that space that, you know, they've got,
Okay.
like I said, I've got friends that have multiple System 55s, you know, that have
Like
that
a
are making
mouse.
music.
yeah, that they use them daily. Like they're in working studios, like they use them.
Wow.
Yeah, so you know, I
That's
wouldn't like, it's easy to jump out and be like, no real musicians actually using this stuff. It's just
Well, no,
guys
I'm
in
just
top
saying.
hats. Like, it's easy to say that.
Guys in top
hats.
No, I'm just saying, in the film world, like say film composition or sound
I definitely
design
see where you're coming
is
from with
where-
that too, Aaron.
is
Yep.
where I think I see this, especially something like the Colossus falling into
Yeah,
place.
yeah, you
I
definitely
don't
see
see
something like that in like Hans Zimmer's studio or something, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm,
You know, for
mhm.
sure. But it's just, to me, that stuff is kind of like I just wouldn't, if they would let me get on a payment plan for like $1 for the rest of my life, maybe I could make that happen.
Oh,
$1 for the rest of my
that's
life.
maybe
$1
that's
a
the new
day.
grind. Maybe that's the new grind. Like these
Subscription
synthesizer companies-
cents.
But hold on now, because that's exactly
Financing.
what synthesizers.com is. That's how synthesizers.com started. You can be on a monthly payment plan with them, and they send you like a module a month, and like they do it like that.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
Yeah, synthesizers.com is actually like, before I got into Eurorack and everything, that's who I was looking at really heavily, and it was because of that payment model that they had. You know, like that's, you know, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Didn't we check them out at Superbooth at some point? Was that synthesizers.com we were messing with?
I don't know.
That was somebody else.
I don't think so.
That was somebody else.
So, yo, I want to also talk about VPhoebe Rack on iOS. Now, some of y'all may know I was on Sonic Talk this past week, Tuesday or Wednesday or whenever it happens. I wish I could be on more often, but my schedule doesn't permit. But Nick is my man. He always makes sure I have an open invitation to come through. So I went there on Wednesday, and one of the last things we talked about was VPhoebe Rack for iOS, but I think it's called My Rack. And I don't know, it
Shout
feels
out
like
to
there's a
Jeffrey
lot
Myrack.
to that. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I was thinking he should send them a cease and desist for his name, right? But yeah, so what y'all think of that? Because, and I feel like there's a little more to the story.
I've been using
And
it.
You've
I've
been
been
using
using
it? So it costs what, $8?
Oh, it costs $8.
Yeah. And it's for iOS, and then but the other one is open source, right? So, you know, I don't know how all that licensing and all that kind of stuff work, but what do you think about it when you're using it, Ken?
It works really well, like the touch interface of it. This is what we have pulled up here is this is synthesizers.com. They have a System 66, which is equivalent to the Moog System 55.
Oh,
basically.
that's different. Okay, that's different than what I was thinking.
And this is $8,000 as opposed to their System 55, which is what, like 35 grand or something like that, or
Okay.
So, but yeah, but they
How
have,
much is that?
and they have
that,
much larger ones as well.
Studio
I mean,
32.
the Studio 110 right here is like, look at that thing. It's insane.
It's crazy.
And that's 15 grand. Like that's their top end.
How much is the little one?
The 22 is
Yeah.
the 22 is only 3 grand. I mean, and
Okay.
when you consider that you get a case,
That's pretty
power
cool.
supply, multiple modules, you know, that's actually really not that bad.
So you get the
yeah,
case and the power supply the first month.
yeah, so they're
First month.
where is it at? Their thing here is
How are they actually split up in the you know?
I haven't looked into
purchase?
this in like a long time. So like years ago, I was looking into that, but yeah, they had like I don't even know if they still have it. I have to look, but let me see here. So here you go. This is their ordering area. They got specials and new products and cabinets and all that good stuff. But I don't know. I'd have to look into it. I haven't looked at this stuff in ages. I was just
Yeah,
when we were talking about that, it reminded me of their payment.
it's a lot to think about, and I know I'm not going to get it. So
But yeah. Anyway, so the My Rack, you know, it works exactly like how you would expect it to work. I mean, it's not fiddly. It's honestly, I have a lot of like modular on iOS type things. And this is the best of all of them so far. Like Audulus is great. Audulus is more powerful, really, if you think about it. But it's also way more fiddly. It's not just like interacting back and forth between your modular in such an easy way. Audulus almost feels like you need to be an engineer to mess with it. You know what I mean? Whereas this feels like you have to be a Eurorack user to mess with it. And it's so easy to move modules around and add them in, and you get, you know, a ton of modules with it because you get all the Befaco ones, you get the mutable instruments ones, and of course they have them. The mutable instruments are under a different name, but it's crazy, man. It's really, really good. It's the jam. Like I was doing patches the other day. Matter of fact, I have it right here. I was doing patches the other day on it, and like using it to basically like mess with rings and clouds and what's the other one? Not braids. What's the newer oscillator from Mutable Instruments?
Oh, Platts.
Yeah. So I was doing patches with that stuff, and
Dope.
you know, and it just works, man. And I'm on an older iPad. This is an iPad Air 2, and it runs great on it. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick so you can see what it looks like on my iPad. And so hold on, you probably hear this. And I'll zoom my webcam in. Hold on. So here we go.
Sounds like the ice cream man is coming.
Yeah. I was just making ice cream sounds.
I
I was actually just using it, messing around with the sequencers that are in there. There's like lots of different clocking devices and that sort of thing inside of there. So I was looking at the random and, you know, all that good stuff. And I have a expert sleepers. How do I shut this thing up though?
So is it an exact copy of the VCV rack?
Yeah, it's VCV Rack, and they expressly say on the site that apparently it was a fork in development and that it's no longer associated with VCV. But for us end users, that's what the hell it is. You know what I mean? Like it's so I guess they're not affiliated anymore, but it's an open source code and whatnot. And I don't know how they were interacted between the two, but yeah, man, that's what it is, and it works fantastically. Like it's not a problem.
That's dope. Yeah, I've been meaning to download it all week, so I'm gonna have to grab that this weekend and really check it out.
Use it with Expert Sleepers ES8 and completely interact between your iPad and your modular like that. And I have actually a Surface Pro that I was running it on.
Yo, you just mentioned something that I about to go to this because
the ES9.
Yes, I think that's worth talking about. I didn't think about it before. Expert
the ES9,
sleepers. ES9, man, that is so fire. Let's see, where'd it go? Here we go.
I just installed the ES8 and the shuttle control side by side in my drum rack, and then I promptly exploded 2 of my power supplies. So,
are you
that
serious?
sounds fun. Yeah, he blew it up. He said he smells smoke, yo.
Oh, dude, my lab smells like smoke right now. It's bad.
So check this out for folks out there who might be getting into modular, may not want to get into modular. I don't know, but anyway, there's options. Like you got My Rack ported from VPhoebe Rack onto the iOS now. And then you got this audio interface that basically just allows you to connect everything to everything. You know what I mean? Like look at the image. You know, you got CV audio, MIDI, you have USB connectivity, headphones out, and then you could go out to your monitors and does it still have ADAT? Does it still have an ADAT?
Yeah,
connection?
it's got ADAT on it.
I
So
thought
you
they
have-
switched it to SPDIF.
What's that?
Didn't they switch it to SPDIF?
It's optical. That's all I know.
No, I see ADAT on it.
Yeah, but I think it only carries the SPDIF signal.
It may
Oh.
only care because I specifically reached out to him to ask him if you can ADAT, an ES8 to it and back. But I didn't see an answer yet, so I can't really say. But I think it is optical SPDIF instead of ADAT, which is kind of irritating for me because like I would have much rather like been able to just ADAT my ES8 and the ES9 together, and then I'd have like a crap ton going on there. It'd be dope. But I mean, I still love the ES8. The ES8 is great. And so somebody's asking in the chat, why would they do that? Why would they waste that connection if it's only SPDIF? And the only answer I would give for that, and I don't know, I'm speculating, but the answer that I would give for that is it depends on what their codec chip is.
Yep.
Like if they didn't have enough channels on there to do a full ADAT, then they could have done it. They could have decided to do it that way. I don't know. So adding a whole nother, ADAC in there would be money. So you never know.
Yeah, but this is
But the
a
price point's
pretty
not
powerful. Yeah, what is it? 469?
I think it was like five.
Oh, it's 569. 569. 469 euro.
That's a lot of connectivity for that.
That is a huge amount of connectivity for somebody like me that has a huge Eurorack case. And it obviously it's a huge Eurorack case, so it's a studio case, right? Something like that is perfect for getting proper recordings in and out without taking up a ton of space. You got a lot of powerful connectivity that you can just interact with your Eurorack by itself pretty much. You know what I mean? And then you can still get it all out of there into your DAW when you're ready for it. But imagine that. You could throw your iOS, your iPad up on it. You could connect your drum machines, your everything. Everything can connect to that and just make your Eurorack like just another piece of seamless gear.
So what I tend to do with my ES8, which is basically a smaller version of this, it doesn't have the dedicated 1/4-inch output and headphone control on it, but it gives you quite a lot of I/O over USB and ADAT. What I tend to do a lot is one, it comes in super handy for tracking. Right. So if you use that as your audio interface instead of whatever audio interface you're sending to, you've got all this headroom because it's designed to work with modular levels, which is great. So you can just plug right from your modular into that and then multi-track it, which is awesome. And then the flip side of it is they work with iOS. So you can plug your iPad into it and get modular out through there. It works over ADAT. So if you're using your when I'm working it with my modular, with my DAW and whatnot, I'll run it ADAT to my Claret 8 Pre-X. And I'll use ADAT for it. That way I'm still getting my Thunderbolt low latency numbers and I don't have to unplug anything. Like it's all just right there. It's just over ADAT.
So I could just send it to my Fireface.
And all that kind of stuff back and forth because it's all DC coupled. Inputs and outputs, which if you're using something like a Motu interface or any of these like audio interfaces to get modular stuff, back and forth, most of those interfaces, if not all of them, do not have DC coupled inputs on them. This does. So you can send it CV into it and actually sample CV and do all kinds of stuff like that with it.
Yeah. So I could just ADAT it to my Fireface.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like how I have this freaking Behringer 8. What the hell is it? 8200. Because that's what I run my modular into. I run it into the Behringer that's ADATed to my Fireface.
So it says here that you can expand the outputs on it. I'm not seeing anything for expanding inputs, but you can expand outputs on this up to 48 more. It says the ES9 can be expanded with the ES5. And it says it also has a pair of SPDIF sockets for connecting other digital audio gear. ES9 also provides a pair of MIDI sockets via a breakout box. Then it says here in a little asterisk, the ES9 has a dedicated pair of audio channels for the ES5. Unlike the ES3 or ES8, you don't lose audio outputs when using the ES5. So that's different.
Dope. Yeah, I think that joint is dope. And I have the ES3. I'm like one of the earlier ones. So, but with that, you have a real ADAT on it, so it'll not be going anywhere.
And it does run up to 96. So
Yeah.
that's pretty dope, man. Like, yeah, there's a lot to like about it. It does draw a lot of current though, man. 451 milliamps. That's a chunk of your power.
All right, so let's see. Nope.
I don't think the
take that
ES8
out.
was even half of that.
Which new iPad so I can get this new VPhoebe Rack head?
Hold on, I gotta.
All right, so I want to. So check this out. This is the other thing, right? So there's a lot of talk about this, and I really can't remember if we talked about the MC707 during NAMM time. We may have, but I don't recall. And there's a lot of stuff that roll and drop. But so here's the thing. I mentioned at one point on Sonic State that like, yo, I think people are looking forward to this, and I know that there was it may have been some people were checking like, oh, I didn't think nobody was checking for that, but I don't know. I think people were anticipating. I think we may have even talked about like, yo, it'd be good for Roland to come back with a groove box at some point. But I think what we had been talking about is a MV9000, which seemed to die, and I got, Mike Trance told me at one point that they were really working on a 9000, but it just got scrapped because things, at that point, it was just kind of like a weird time. Machine was ruling everything. The MPC 5000 had just dropped and it was kind of struggling. You know what I'm saying? The industry changed at that point.
I haven't even heard that in like long time. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I rocked the 5000 for years actually, and it was right around the time when we were expecting a MV9000 to be dropping. So I don't know. What's your thoughts about this MC707 dropped last week before last, or whatever? The 101 and 707.
I don't know. I think it's cute. That's pretty much what it is. Like, me personally, I haven't really been too much of a fan of like their whole Aria or Ara series. Like, I don't know. A big part of my selection of gear also has to do with like aesthetics too, and not putting off any of its capabilities. Like, I'm just not even drawn to it because of that. Like, I just haven't really been much of a fan of Roland's products of late. However, I did mess with it at NobCon, and that kind of kept at bay some of my reservations about it. So I'm to the point now where it's just like, it's all personal preference.
Looks like a fake SP1200 to me.
I mean, it's got
okay.
that vibe. It's got that vibe with like, I think substantially less. Well, actually, no, I think it's got more sample time than that. But there's no I know there's no chopping, I believe. It's like,
there's sample chopping.
Is there sample chopping?
I thought there was.
Okay.
But I could have just. I think I'm assuming you probably know better than I do. But you know what? I can say that I think it's obviously going to have its market. But I definitely think that the 101 seems to have more appeal than the 707.
I am a lot more interested in the 101,
right?
Because of its portability.
But it doesn't have sampling inputs on it, does it?
No,
but you sampled through the USB. On the 101.
See, I'm not interested at that point. Like, if I'm going to sample through USB, that means I'm with my computer, and if I'm with my computer, then I ain't using that. So, to me, no. That's if it had sampling inputs on the 101, I'd have been. Or is it the 101 or 101? I don't know.
MC 101.
I don't care. I'm not buying it either way because if it don't have the sampling inputs
you
on
care.
it's not helping me.
You care.
Yeah, I hear you. You know, on kind of on this same subject, but not necessarily on these products. Let me ask y'all this: do y'all think this is still a market for the Phantom? Because I personally feel like that the workstation keyboard market like left long behind in like the early
Yeah,
2000s.
I don't know, man. Like the workstation, I used to be all about workstations, man, and personally, I'm just done with them. Like I would
I feel
never.
like they're on their way back. I feel
Yeah.
like they're gonna. I feel like you're gonna see a turnaround for that, and I got a lot of reasons for it, but I'll just say this: with the whole like move towards a lot of like DAW-less jamming and that kind of stuff, there's a need for bread and butter sounds, and that's where
Yeah.
the workstations shine. And
Yeah.
I'll say this: I played the Phantom the other day, the new Phantom, and I was actually like pleasantly surprised. I really liked the analog filter on it. I thought it sounded awesome, and I love the little groove section on it. I still felt like the whole layout was. It's better than some, but it still felt like more cumbersome than it needed to be. Um, but man, the only thing that stops me from buying one of them things is the price point. Like,
Gotcha.
I like the idea of like having all those bread and butter sounds, lots of stacking, lots of
Yeah.
layering,
Yeah.
and all these different things like that. I
I
like
don't.
that without having to get it off my computer.
No,
I
that
can
new
get it
Phantom
on my
is
computer as
fresh.
much as I can.
I don't know. I just felt like that market was long behind. I used to work Guitar Center from like years 2004 through like 2007, and I sold plenty of those original Phantoms when I was working back then. Triton Extremes, Motifs, and since then, it's like since we've entered the new decade, you know, I don't have friends in my circle that are even workstation bound anymore.
Yeah,
So
No,
so yeah, that's the thing with
I
something
think
like
that
this.
I think like the new Jack Swing style's coming back, man.
You're probably
People are
right.
gonna be checking for these.
They're going to sell. It's rolling.
They're
Well,
gonna
but
sell.
for me, the reason I'm not really checking for them at all is because, firstly, I'm long over bread and butter sounds. I don't care about a piano. I
yeah.
don't care about strings. I don't want no orchestra in my music. You know what I'm saying? But this I'm speaking only on my opinion though, and I'm gonna get to why though. And the reason is because my personal taste. I'm much more into poly analogs and even VAs and stuff like that. I'm much more into the synthesis of stuff more so than rompler, sampler type
Yeah,
stuff.
me
And so I'm
too.
just not into it no more. And I think back in the day, it was pretty common for, I had a homeboy that would kill his Phantom.
Yeah,
Yo, I
same,
used to be like, son, you
same.
using the Phantom to do that? And
You
so I
know,
get it, but I just don't, for me, it has no appeal whatsoever at all.
you know who else used to
Especially
kill
after
the
Euro rap.
You know who else used to kill the Phantom?
Who?
Madlib.
Word.
Madlib.
But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. That's true.
there's a lot of
That's true.
there's a lot of
That's
great
true.
producers on workstations. You know what I mean? Especially if you look towards like late '90s and early 2000s. I mean, there was a ton of it. But for me, it's like I said, it's about the usability without
Right.
having to have
My bad. Me in the
and
city.
stage performances. You know what I mean? Like a lot of and it's also not just about the hip hop heads too. So
Yeah.
I mean, this type of thing
Yeah.
this
You know
type of
what's
thing is going to be able to run your live show. You're going to be able to do not just backing tracks, but having MIDI tracks playing out of it, having grooves, drum grooves playing out of it, doing your layering. Like there's a whole lot of live show arrangement. Live.
Oh, I think touring keyboardists are gonna
Overlooking
love it.
a couple
Yo,
things.
you know who's gonna love it? Church music
Yeah,
directors.
Yeah.
I
church
was
music
just thinking
directors
that
and touring
church.
keyboardists.
I was thinking church, but
Yep.
then you also got to take into account like think about it like this. Think about how well the Roland Cloud
I
is
got
doing right now with the Romplers. That's people are really into that because they're into those throwback sounds. So I think that the Roland, I think this new Phantom product is going to do really well because it's not for us. It's for the people that didn't get access to it. This is coming around. I think it's going to do well.
I agree. I agree. I think the price is a tad high for what they're what they're doing, but there, like I said, there's a lot of interesting changes on this one that in the Phantom space and in the motif range, even with like the Mode DX and all that stuff that we weren't really seeing. And this one actually has some interesting changes. You know what I mean? Some paradigm shift. The groove area, and that
Does it still have a sampler?
all that stuff is actually really, it's a nice addition. And then they threw that analog filter in there, which, you know, it's kind of a gimmick thing, but at the same time, dude, I was playing with it and it produced such a bass sound when I was messing with it that like 3 other people like just turned around instantly. They're, what the hell was that? And I was like, Phantom. You're like,
But does it still have a sampler in it? I haven't even read the specs yet. Because to me,
it's got a sampler in it, but it doesn't.
And a sequencer, good sequencer, obviously.
It has the sampler in it, but it doesn't have like the full long linear audio tracks like they used to do.
Mm-hmm. So here's the thing to me too. I kind of feel like, so I had what did I have? The Mode DX, not the Mode DX. What's the other joint? The bigger,
Montage.
The Montage. So I had the Montage here for a while, and I think that's when I came to the conclusion that I'm not into this anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah. And even then, I'll admit that it sounded great, but it wasn't my sound. You know what I'm saying? I could give it its props. But then what trips me out about these workstations nowadays, and I'm going to take this off of here because it's actually kind of annoying me flipping back and forth. But the workstations nowadays are, I don't know if the right term is subpar compared to the ones of old, but I think the thing that they're doing is that they're changing things to put workstations in a proper context for today's workflows. And what it tends to do is bastardize the workstations, because the Montage doesn't have a proper sequencer. I don't think it had a sampler. It had an incredible FM synth engine. It you know, the layering sounds and the motion sequence and all that stuff was incredibly beautiful, but it didn't have a sequencer because they relied on DAW connectivity, USB with the audio in and out of USB. And to me, what I felt like when I sat in front of this massive keyboard that was, in my mind, a workstation, it felt subpar compared to other workstations. So it was, and then later on they were like, yo, you reviewed it like a workstation. It's actually a synth. I'm like, well, y'all should not put that shit in a workstation body. You gotta I felt like the context was all wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
so
Corey,
yeah,
just add a little bit to this to make it a little bit more interesting and appealing. Is if you look at some of the specs that are on this new Phantom, there's a couple of new things that are, you know, really interesting. Is the fact that one, there's two sets of CV gate on it now, right?
Wow.
Dope.
And you've got 128 LFOs per voice, which can modulate.
What?
So you got two LFOs per partial and 4 partials per tone, which in the Roland world, the partial is kind of like, it's kind of like a mini voice inside of each thing, right? So, and this stuff can go all the way across the whole thing. So now you're not just playing back basic Rompler stuff. You're actually doing synthesis along with the Rompler stuff, which is really beautiful. You know what I mean? For a workstation type keyboard, it allows you to get more into the creative aspect of the actual sound design than what they previously used to do. Like, you know,
and that's what I'm seeing too, because I think that the Montage was similar to that. You were able to tweak more things and get into it more like a synth, but more of the workstation aspects have been more removed or dumbed down. And I think that's what it was off-putting. It was, I don't think anything can prepare you for that until you get to know what workstation is in 2019. You know what I mean? Because if you come at it thinking of workstation that we all know from before, it's a different beast.
Different world. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I stand corrected, man. Like,
oh, I'm not into it, bro. But that's my perspective.
Well, it's just like when Flex is just dropping like the actual specs. I mean, I wouldn't even really expect anything less from Roland doing something new like this in 2019. Like they should be bringing it and like offering something that's not really even offered on, you know, a lot of like nothing. Like I never heard of 120 LFOs. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it legitimately though, like when I played it, like the way that the new synth section is on it, where you actually get to control, it's got dedicated controls for the envelopes and all that stuff on it. So like it's actually like a little synth right there, and except you're controlling this big workstation from that. And those knobs, like it actually feels good. That was one of the things that surprised me, is like I was kind of like, I wasn't like super hype about it or anything, but I was like, yo, I needed to go check this thing out. And when I started messing with it, like the dedicated control aspect of it is wonderful. And then when I started messing with that analog filter on it, like, dude, the resonance and analog filter on that thing is, it's impressive. Like it really is. Like
That was a good move for them to put an analog filter on it, though. And I don't think that's gimmicky either. I don't think it's gimmicky.
It has an analog filter, but the Jupiter doesn't.
Well, yeah, that's a bit of a problem. I don't know how they justify that.
I just bought a JDXA, like, so which I've like barely.
Yeah,
touched.
we know we don't like that.
It's not even that I don't like it. I haven't really spent a ton of time on it. I bought it knowing that it was a really, really quirky design.
Yeah,
and it's
You should sell it, man.
nah, man. I'm gonna have fun with it. I bought it.
Yo, Jex is
I bought it as like
a couple months
ugly
ago,
stepchild to
hyping
play
it back
with.
up again.
Yo, do y'all remember Oasis?
What's that?
Do y'all remember the Korg Oasis?
Yeah,
Yep.
I
Yeah,
remember
man.
that.
You can get those things for cheap now
I
too.
know. I just happened to rethink about that like maybe a few weeks ago, and I was looking at it. Yeah, they're like $2 or $3 grand compared to when they came out.
They were 10 and 12 grand when they came out.
Yeah, 10 grand workstation,
Whoa.
Yep.
super power synth,
It was the open system,
open-ended. Yeah,
open
I actually-
architecture system.
I actually was able to sell one of those when I worked at Guitar Center. My homie AOK, shout out to him. But anyways, I was always curious. That was well before I was into synthesis. I was always curious how does that compare to stuff now? Because I heard because it was open-ended that if you stayed with it, you could still do a lot of things with that. Like,
Well, that was the thing. Though, it was open ended, and that these are the promises of these big synth companies. Just like V-Synth and all that was promised to be supported for so long, and then we saw how that turned out. So it's like, that thing did not get the support that it could have had. That open architecture was not open source architecture. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
Gotcha, yeah.
right. There's a big difference.
That thing could have really been supported for a long
thing
time.
had-
So you say you could
that
get
thing had a
Korg Oasis for
CD
cheap
burner
now
on it.
because they still $2,500 and $3,000. What were they when they came out?
Like
They were like
12
10
grand.
grand. Yeah.
It was
Really?
10 grand for the lower end model. It
Yeah,
was
exactly.
12 for the high
Whoa.
end. Yeah.
No wonder the only person I ever seen with one was RZA.
It's got
Right.
it's got a CD burner on it. Like I don't know how significant that is to y'all. But like,
Open up your champagne bottle. For you.
in the early 2000s, that was like everything. Like,
So it has a place for me to sit this.
yeah.
It's got a
Hey, those are bomb. But is that the ginger beer?
Oh yeah, I love those. I keep these in the fridge, man.
Yeah. Oh, matter of fact, I gotta go cook some collard greens and mac and cheese, man.
Word, yeah, it's about the time. We're gonna go ahead and round it up, man, because we've been on for a little minute. We had our initial sort of things, and I want to thank everybody for coming through on the chat. I want to thank David for the $10 tip, and I want to thank the crew for coming through. And we're gonna order a pizza with that $10.
Hey, put that money in the NAM fund.
There you go, NAM
all right.
fund. Here we come.
Nam fun.
Yeah.
Yo, real quick, I want to thank y'all for adding me to the conversation. Like I said, you guys are like all of y'all are inspirations to me. So I hope to be able to continue to have these conversations with y'all in the future.
Yeah, bro, you're always welcome. I'll include you on the invite for future shows.
Word.
I enjoyed having you on, and on a closing note, like I guess I want to get to a point where we can be able to come to each other's cities and rock shows and have mod bap meetups and stuff, man. So it's all about community.
Boom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Soon.
Word up. So yeah. Anybody got anything they want to promote before we get out of here?
Afroback is still out there doing his thing. Fess is out here. If you don't know, Fess is running the beat scene here in Chicago, especially when it's
Open Beats. Yeah, that's dope.
Open Beats. It's dope. Yeah.
Yeah, Open Beats, definitely check that out. We're all Instagram, Twitter. it's basically just an open mic night for electronic artists. Be running for 4 years this January or next January. So it's getting crazy. We just had our September installment last night. It's beautiful. So yeah.
Dope. Next time I come to town, man, I got to definitely come through and drop something, man.
Oh man, I think you'll freeze the room.
You would.
You would freeze the room, dude. Like,
It'll be fun, man.
we're not really ready for it. Well, I mean, we are, but I think you kill it.
Well, you know I gotta do my old Euro Rack lullaby in the beginning, so you know what I mean. That typically throws people off a little bit. Like people be looking like I don't know what he think this is. And then when I drop that hammer, though,
That's how you gotta do it, man. That's how you gotta do it.
So
you gotta throw them off at first.
The good thing is we've been I've been putting emphasis on like trying to build the bridge between the beat scene and the modular community out here because it was, you know, a little bit separated for a while. You know, I'll just leave it at that. So we're definitely expanding to just not just be 4/4, hit lo-fi or house. Like we're all in between. Like any form of electronic music that you're doing live, like we're open to. So.
That's what's up. So yeah, I'm gonna make a plan to come through, and I'm gonna kind of make sure next time I plan to come through, it's gonna be scheduled around a time so I can have that happening at the same time and come
it's
through.
Like, it's every third
Friday of the month.
Okay, word.
Yep.
So yeah, Ali, what you got going on, man? Anything you want to say before you get out of here?
I'm gonna have a run of Ali Modular t-shirts and Ali the Architect t-shirts on alithearc.com. That's Ali THEARC.com. Those will be going up tomorrow. And yeah, man, I'm just rocking out, man. Just, you know, grooving, making some music, finishing up some circuit stuff, and yeah, that's about it, bro.
Word, that's what's up. And on the heels of that, I just want to add in there that pretty soon here, probably in the next few weeks, I'll have ModBap t-shirts going up with the ModBap square logo going up on BeatPPL.com. So
the green one, right? The green ModBap logo.
Right?
Green. I could. You'll get a black one and a can of spray paint. And what's up with you, Ken? What you got on the way out? Man?
I got a couple of cool things. One, I just did a live stream with Brad of Isla Instruments about the SP2400. So we did like a long. We were trash drunk by the end of it. So if you keep that out, Brad and I tend to get along pretty well. And yeah. Oh, you got the. We talked
about the black edition.
I got the black edition.
How they get fingerprints real easy.
Yeah.
But
I think it's amazing.
yeah, so we did a live stream about the SP2400 update, so you can check that out. I got another video that I'm working on right now for the Hydra Sense that is going to be. I'm going to show 20,400 oscillators at once, and how you can get there using Hydra Sense.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's
that's nuts.
A little tip on that is that I will be polychaining the two. So because I have a desktop here and the keyboard. So if it's only one, you'll only get a measly 10,200
Jesus.
So I'm doing a video on that because I just thought it would be kind of funny and clickbaity, and then like I took it as a challenge to see, can I make a usable patch with that many oscillators going? And I actually did make a pretty cool patch out of it. So I'll be doing that.
Cool.
And we got a question in here about the Acid Rain chainsaw. Yes, we had Acid Rain on the show. What was it, last week?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Or 2 shows ago, I should say.
Two shows ago.
And they're going to come back in November and talk about their drum module and the chainsaw. So, expect them to come back and we'll be talking about some of that stuff too. I saw some demos of the chainsaw and it's right up my alley, like the way I love chord and you know, the 4MS spherical wave table
navigator.
navigator.
Module looks dope, man. Like I really am digging the stuff that they're doing. I want want that chainsaw and I want that fader module.
Yep,
But
ditto.
yeah, listen, I'm gonna run because I'm gonna go get some cheesesteak from the Amish spot, and I'm
Amish cheesesteak. Well, that's a thing.
Yo,
All right, Joe.
Amish
All right,
cheesesteak
peace.
is not on Earth.
Peace, everybody.
So yeah, fluxwithit.com.
All right, peace.
Peace. Afro Rack.